Hi, hello, it's Rachel. So Yona and I actually recorded this the Saturday after the finale, which was I think September 10th or something like that, like literally the first week of September. And it's October 1st, so it's taken me a minute to get to editing this. Basically, we just kind of rambled for about an hour 45, and we did our best to attempt to discuss the show as a whole. We were kind of everywhere in our thoughts, and obviously you can only get so in depth in that amount of time. So, there's plenty we didn't even get around to discussing. But yeah, I'll I'll pass the video over to that conversation. I I watched with Sam on Monday since you weren't available,
Right.
and we literally had nothing to say because we were both so upset.
Yeah. It was like such a fizzle of a finale. It just
Honestly, the last three episodes felt so uneventful.
Mhm.
And it's so weird with how much they were hyping up literally everything going on this season.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know, somehow once everything aligned that they're literally just rehashing everything they've done previously,
Yeah.
it became so boring. So and it's it's sad because it's you want to care about these things because you've invested.
Been here for 4 seasons.
Right.
For me, you've been here for 4 years. God.
Right. Yeah.
This season was literally just if you're not Michael or Isabel, we're gonna shit on you. That's all this season was.
Yeah.
And it's part of me is why are you even here if you don't like these characters? Just quit. Just find something else to do with your time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is
The
spite really that big of a motivator for you?
Oh man, I mean, benefit of the doubt that wasn't necessarily actively hating, Liz and Max and the other characters, but the fact that like season one started out so squarely, so clearly, so distinctly a story about Liz and Max. And they did it really well.
Yeah.
Sure, there were cheesy bits here and there, and already in season one, the like lightning switch of Michael and Isabel from going from their weird aggressive and sure protective,
Yeah.
whatever, to all of a sudden being buddy buddy.
Yeah.
It was already tiresome. But to the complete pivot from making a cohesive story with lead characters and supporting characters to this Avengers style bullshit of all of a sudden everyone is important. Everyone has the same powers but with a little bit of extra special sauce whenever it's convenient to the
Literally,
story.
though.
Ah.
I've been joking with friends that season one was the Liz and Max show, season two was the Michael and Isabel show, season three was the Liz, Michael, and Isabel show, and then season four we're back to the Michael and Isabel show. With a huge emphasis on Michael, but still the Michael and Isabel show.
Yeah. Yeah. And then wait, was it just this season that they had Max tell Isabel you've grown into yourself?
That was season two.
Okay.
That was the finale of season two.
Okay.
I have not watched 213 since it aired, and I still fucking know that Max and Isabel scene happened in that episode because it made me want to pull my hair out. Because it made me so bad. I was like, what are you talking about? Since we're on this now, though, let's talk about Isabel. Let's talk about the fact that season 1 set her up as someone who's like a perfectionist, and she's like terrified about letting people in because this big secret, and just all this thing about like having a facade to protect herself. And then they just dropped all of that to do this warrior bullshit. Like, and it wasn't even interesting. It was just like, why are we doing this? Where is this coming from?
Like, watered down white woman, Lululemon, ridiculous.
It's literally just, this is what Buffy has done to media. Because everyone wants to copy Buffy. And, I mean, I don't want to say Buffy's great. It had so many problems. But pretty much no one who wants to copy that is capable of doing it as well. Especially not with Lily, because she can't fucking act. Like, no hate to her as a person, but she cannot act.
No, none at all. And she hasn't gotten any better. That's the thing that like is disappointing.
The only time where I find her believable is like scenes where she's supposed to be afraid, and other than that, I can't take her seriously.
Yeah.
The only reason I found this out at some point last season, the only reason they gave her this shit is because Lily like actually does I don't remember what style fighting. She does some type of like kung fu or like martial arts. That's the word I want. She does some type of martial arts. She studied in it. And so she was asking Karina in season 2, she's like, I want to like use this for my character. But it's like, dude, this makes no sense for your character. And literally, it was out of nowhere, because I get the whole thing that they were trying to do at the beginning of season 2, where she was, like, doing self-defense, because, like, yes, of course, after you've been violated so intensely by your dead husband, it makes sense that you would want to, like, have, you would want protection, and you'd want to have that kind of knowledge. Yeah. But we see that for, like, 30 seconds, and then 5 episodes later, she's like, I'm so powerful, I can do anything. And it's like, this is not earned.
That's not how that works. Oh my god. Like, I get that things have to move fast when it's a 13-episode season.
Yeah.
But what the fuck? Like, not that fast. Not like 30 seconds of barely any on-screen development and time and like investment, and then all of a sudden she's like the master and she's teaching. Like,
yeah, no. Like, and if you do move that fast, you need to fill in the gaps. You can't just be like, here's 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden she's like a master at fighting and she can take Max on, who's been doing this shit for probably a decade. And, but whatever, like when they were brawling in that episode when he came back, and she was doing fine against him, which is ridiculous. And I forget where my thought was going. I don't know. It was so dumb that, like, she was able to hold her own against Max. And then, like, the whole thing of her being more powerful than him, because he fucking harnessed lightning again, and it didn't affect her at all. And, like, they literally just were like, she's all powerful. She's our get out of jail free card now. Because that's what they used her for. Oh, I think I remember what my thought was going to be. So they had her, like, be, like, so proficient at fighting in season 2, like, hand-to-hand fighting. And then season 3, suddenly, she's so good with swords. And it's like, these are not connected. What? And I think, didn't she, like, literally get the sword and then she's, like, immediately good with the sword? Because I don't think she did anything to prepare for that.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I haven't rewatched these episodes either because
Yeah.
But to my memory, yeah, it was one of those like she picks it up and it's like like a power up situation of like
Yes.
and like yes, there are transferable skills between different types of combat, but to like be an instant master at both is absurd.
Yeah.
And like, oh gosh.
Also, for anyone listening, we're gonna jump around so much. Since we're on the season 3 nonsense now, so I had a realization earlier this week because I was talking with someone about how season 4 just made it so obvious the writers. I think it's genuine disinterest in Max and not like hate for Max, but like there's definite vitriol for Liz there, and for Max and Liz as a ship.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how, like, obviously, I had some worries with season 3 because, like, as you know, because we were watching it together, like, we did not love it.
Right.
But, like, it was nowhere near this level of where I could feel, like, disdain for people who weren't Michael and Isabel. And their partners, I guess, because they're extensions of Michael and Isabel, so the writers have to be nice to them.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it because I was like, why wasn't season 3 like this
bad?
Well, I don't know the word I want. Why did I like feel kind of hopeful with season 3, I guess, if season 4 derailed this terribly. And it hit me that they were forced into a corner with how season 2 ended with Finding Jones. Because you have a clone story, you can't fully disentangle Max from that. Because he's his clone. So Max needs to be involved in some capacity.
Right, necessarily by definition. Yeah.
And Liz, as a scientist, she has to be involved too, because, like, Jones is obviously going to want a scientist of some sort. She's the only candidate. So she has to be at the center too. But when you know that, then you look at how much they tried to disentangle Max from all that, because he did nothing last season. And it's like, oh, so they have wanted these characters out of the spotlight this whole time, and they did their best to do so, but because Jones' existence, it was impossible to do it fully last season.
Interesting. That's those dots connect.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Oh. Yeah, that's so funny to think that, like, they basically stumbled into, like, how compelling a character Jones was initially, and the plots involved. To think that was like a happy accident is very funny.
Yeah, it's because I mean, like, I don't want to give too much credit because like Karina basically said that she did this because she was just trying to give Nathan something to do while Max was dead, because he was like the stand-in for the scenes where you didn't see Jones's face. But like the setup when we started season 3 was like kind of inspired. Like, it was a good setup. The execution was horrendous, but the actual setup was like a good idea.
Yeah.
And then they wasted it on fucking Michael.
Oh my god.
Like I just said with that thought process, like I literally didn't have a problem with Michael being the dictator's son until I put together that they were trying to disentangle Max from this, and now I'm like, oh yeah, that should have been a warning sign to me.
And like, because it works. That is like that's a really juicy narrative to dig into. the biological inheritance and like the nature versus nurture and the like dictator versus savior, all of these different dichotomies and like all of that, and the relationship that Michael and Max have, and like there's so much potential there because there's so much hurt and like unexpressed feelings and trauma and the way they relate, like there's so much potential, but then they did fuck all with it. Oh my god! I think honestly that's gonna be my takeaway experience from Roswell.
Wasted potential.
Yeah, because like literally in every season, in every A plot, B plot, there's so much potential.
Yeah.
But then they fuck it up.
There's so much setup and never any payoff.
Yeah.
And then, like, when they do actually give quote-unquote answers, it's like season 4 where they just fucking undo everything. But since I already warned we're gonna be everywhere with this. Since you brought up the dictator, the savior thing. The fucking Nora flashback in the finale.
I had to pause and like walk around my room for a minute and be like, yo, like literally I was talking out loud to my computer. I'm like, what the fuck? Did they really pull this out of their asses, try to bring it back? Like, seriously.
I was so mad. Because they literally had Jones refer to himself as Oasis's savior. That is, when you did that, you said that's why Max has the name Savior. You can't put this back now. And the fucking nerve to have Nora be like, I named him Savior when she's fucking working with Jones. And then the fucking nerve of Max to like, I mean, it's not the nerve of Max, it's the nerve of the writers having Max do this. But the nerve of Max giving her that fucking necklace that was fucking Jones's brand, because that also means savior. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Complete loss for words. When we were watching live in season 3, and like every episode was like, hey, so these writers don't read their own work. They don't give a fuck about canon. They don't give a fuck about good writing, but like that's another. Yeah. With Nora giving him the name and the necklace things, like insane.
Yeah.
And like, because
I was screaming at my laptop. Like, I was so mad.
It's so weird because like Jones is a really compelling villain. Like, he's a scary dude.
Yeah.
And
Max and Nathan played him so well.
Yeah. And it's like, so especially with the, like, that's the savior storyline, like the I don't know, conceitedness, the mania of whatever variety, the like evilness to call yourself a savior, meanwhile you're committing genocide. Like, that's a really scary character. That is a well contextualized villain.
Yeah.
And then to pull these I don't know if they thought they were undoing that story or if they were like reframing it. I just had a complete loss for words with the choices in the finale.
Also, now that you just said that you just brought up the fact that Jones was committing genocide, as we both kind of said before, that just makes the whole brand more troubling. And it's like, Jesus fuck, why did you give Liz that? Hello?
Oh my god.
Hello.
Like, bro, this is your soulmate? Like the woman you love? Like what is going on?
I mean, again, this is solely on the writers, because why would Max do that ever anyway? Once he knows
Like,
it's Jones's symbol, why would he want anything to do with it?
right. Like
Huh?
the Max we know and
Huh?
love would beat that shit out of his skin and like, yeah.
Literally. He would take the first appointment he could to get it removed.
Yeah. Wild. I,
I want nothing to do with this because I want nothing to do with Jones. And yet,
and
here
like
we fucking are.
right. Oh my gosh. And like the kind of almost heartbreaking thing is that like I would bet money that the writers, when they made those choices for the finale, completely forgot about the Jones thing. They like I would be like 98% certain they just completely forgot about all of that. And we're just
I
like,
don't think they
oh
forgot about
yeah.
it. I just think they don't understand the deeper implications of like literally anything they write. And I bet
Yeah.
they also think they're so clever for some of this shit. Like, I bet they're like, oh, how clever of us to have Max give Liz this symbol that's meant so much to him. It's like, he knows about Jones now. It should not mean anything to him anymore. But
Right?
fine. Okay, you want to play stupid. Let's play stupid, I guess.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Oh
And
my
Liz knows
gosh.
it's a brand too, because that scene with Clyde 2 episodes earlier, so why would she accept it?
Oh my god.
I can't.
Yeah.
And if we're ranting about the finale, I have another thing that really I have multiple things that really pissed me off, but ignoring the Maliks of it all. Um,
Mm.
so that whole thing when Liz was like talking to Rose and she's like, we made it, like the other shoe dropped, and she was like basically saying that she's ready to propose. And then she went to the diner to propose to Max, and the writers
Mm-hmm.
fucking baited us again, and she didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, really, we're gonna fucking end this without them being engaged. And then they had the final scene, and I was like, oh, okay, we are getting an engagement. And then they just fucking bulldozed over it and skipped the actual proposal to just have which, like, okay, I will admit that scene would have been cute, like if you take it out of the context of this season. But the writers have
Mm-hmm.
been fucking relentless about this proposal, and then we didn't even fucking get it. Like, you've got to be kidding me.
That was probably the diner and the follow-up scene was probably one of the few instances where I was like, holy shit, like they actively do not care about Liz.
Yeah.
Because to like it feels dramatic to say this, but like that particularly felt like such a dereliction of duty of writing her character.
Yeah.
To not have the follow through of what they established in the season premiere
Yeah.
of like she's still in the tumultuousness of her anxieties.
Yeah.
Like it's frustrating, but sure, whatever. The fact that they were able to write that dialogue in the beginning of the season of her kind of beginning to process her anxieties, and then by the end of the season, they're like, no, never mind. We're not going to write anything about this. We're just going to have it
Hand
be
wave it away.
implicit
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. This is one of those things that's just going to, like, in the future, whenever I think about Roswell, New Mexico, it's going to make me insane.
Yeah.
That they, like, yeah. I struggled to come up with another phrasing except dereliction of duty in terms of like what writers owe their characters to not have her complete that journey of verbally, personally, specifically, explicitly, clearly engaging in the proposal. Crazy. Like Ugh.
Yeah, no, I know I've said this to you many times where I was always like, the writers can't hate Max and Liz because they'd be doing so many worse things if they did. But the finale proved they did, and they were just holding on to it until the fucking end.
Yeah. Yeah. Just burning the bridge on their way out because fuck us, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it, but I sent you something about a potential season 5 if it were to happen after this. Because like the writers, this was the finale as they intended it, but apparently, if there were to be a season 5, it would take probably most of the season before Max got back, and there would be multiple time jumps, so multiple years would have passed before Max and Liz reunited.
I'm sorry, what?
Like, make it more obvious you hate these two characters.
Wait. So first of all, Max would not be in most of the season, is what you're telling me.
I think they would find a way to show some stuff on Oasis, but he would not be in Roswell for most of the season.
Okay. Multiple time jumps within a 13-episode season.
With, I think it was 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, is what he said.
5 years?
Yeah.
I have no words. What? 5 years?
Yeah.
What? And
it's just, it makes me want to attack him because, like, literally Max and Liz have never had the chance to be happy. Literally all I got was, like, the fucking 6 months between season 3 and season 4. Because season 1, they had 4 episodes, but they were busy dealing with the 4th alien nonsense. So, like, they were distracted, obviously. And then when they finally, like, have a moment where, like, their emotions culminate and they have sex, like, a Max dies, like, an hour later. and then we're in angsty hell because Liz is, like, she doesn't know how to be without him, and she's trying to bring him back. And then they get 1 episode before they start some drama. I mean, well, technically, I guess the drama isn't that bad, but, like, I can't. Liz babying him made me insane. Like, he's a grown adult. Stop treating him like a 5-year-old. For the love of God.
Like condescending, patronizing shit.
Literally, though. It was so awful. Like, season 2 had me furious. Like, in terms of writing, I will say season 2 probably has a better plot than season 3 or season 4, but I think season 2 is the most infuriating for me just because I fucking hate how much she babied Max. Like, I could not stand it.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, so she was, like, babying Max and, like, treating him like a child, and then, like, while she's still doing that, she's doing her fucking experiments behind his back. And then they're just arguing for, like, the last 3 episodes. And then season 3, we barely get anything until 309. So, like, the season's already 2/3 over. And they don't even get the chance to be happy until, like, the last 2 episodes. And then you saw season 4. We just went through that mess. So, like, yeah, they never gave them the chance to be happy. So, yeah. It's just insane how, like, they got that season 2 renewal and they were just like, okay, we can stop pretending to care about Max and Liz. And it's like, bro, your show would not have gotten a season 2 if you didn't have Nathan and Janine in these roles.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, gosh.
Because, like, I know the fucking Max corner of fandom is very vocal, but I promise they do not make the majority of people watching.
Yeah. That's something that has, like, very deeply frustrated me, is that so my sense of these things is that people will like kind of default to looking at Twitter to see what audience reactions are. And like, first of all, the people who are on Twitter, it's like such a small proportion of the world. So you're already in like a biased environment, right? But then like there's just zero critical thinking of like who is motivated to actually post about stuff. Like the bias towards negative posting is pretty crazy. And then like on another level, not really related to the like sort of statistical biases, but the fandom culture of fixating on the white gay men, and not understanding that like that's such a specific bubble of your audience.
Yeah.
And to skew your whole show to that bubble, bizarre. Like,
and
why?
And also, like you said, white gay men. It's not even white gay men. It's white men that they can headcanon as gay half the time.
There it is. Even better if they perform like heterosexual masculinity, and then we can just like have our little fun.
And like that's the thing. I don't remember when I think this was season 2 when I had this realization. But Malix is so popular because like it's written the same way as like all of the gay bait ships, but like they actually make out and have sex.
Right? Like, oh. The thing is, if they actually did the work, it could be a great story. It could be a super compelling story of this like really hurt and angry guy coming to terms with his like softer side because he had these like artistic curiosities when he was a kid, but it was basically beaten out of him.
Yeah.
And like he connects with this other really sweet, really soft guy, and he went off on his own path of like adhering to his family pressure. And this is another thing where there is so much potential. Like, the premise is fine. The premise could be even really lovely. But
terrible
then they
execution.
Fuck all it. They put no narrative investment into developing the story. And like, and we're expected to care about their wedding 4 years later? Like, no, fuck off. What are you talking about?
Well, I think the biggest problem with Malix is I think everything about 106 kind of destroyed them, in my opinion, because
which one is
that was the flashback episode where we see like how they met. Because literally they just kind of like shared a few surface level interactions, which like I mean, fair enough. Their interactions were nice. Like I do think it's sweet that Alex like gave Michael a place to stay because he didn't want to be with his adoptive family. But like their interactions gave nothing of substance. And like they're suddenly in love and they immediately have sex. And we're supposed to think that's the same level as Max and Liz when they've been best friends for a decade.
Oh my god. The equivocating of those two plots, those two relationships, bonkers.
Yeah.
Like,
and then to add on to the fact that it was like an insulting attempt at a love story, then we have the whole trauma porn aspect of Jesse interrupting like their moment of like quote unquote euphoria after like acting on these desires.
Right.
And he smashes Michael's hand. And I mean, that in itself was only there to be like I don't know what I want to say. It was just there to be like the disability was only used as like an expression of his trauma, and it didn't matter as an actual disability.
Yeah.
and they only had that at all because they wanted to do this trauma porn shit.
Yeah.
God, okay. Since I'm on that though, the fucking horrid way the show treated disability, like, completely removed Michael's hand and did not even acknowledge it was a thing post season 1. Barely acknowledged that Alex was an amputee after season 1. I guess there are a few mentions in season 2, but like,
it was used as a punchline.
was
like
it? I don't even remember.
Well, so like when Helena,
I haven't been paying attention to a scene since, the whole race faking thing came out, so.
Valid. No, there was something awful when Helena took Alex and then Michael goes to save him. They played for a joke that Michael like says, "Give me your limb" or something, and I'll like they were gonna use his leg as a weapon, like, and that was supposed to be a punchline.
That's weird. That's weird.
Yeah, weirdo behavior. Oh my god.
Oh, this is completely unrelated, but because I've been talking to people and I was like, these are the 3 things that I hated most about the finale. We've already talked about 2, because one was the fucking Nora scene, one was the lack of proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Max giving Michael his typewriter.
Bro, oh my god. That was the weakest, most ridiculous, like, justification that you got. Like, you're right. Oh my god. Like,
the way we both can't even talk about this because we're so mad. Like, these writers really said we're gonna have Max give up every important quality of himself before he leaves. Because, like, I hate that he's been a cop for 3.5, 2.5 seasons.
Right.
Because season 2 he wasn't.
Right.
But, like, he gave Isabel his badge as well. So, like, they literally had him, like, shedding the important aspects of his identity before he left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, the finale truly was nothing but a spit in the face.
My god.
Unless you were an Alex or Kyle shipper, and then you got everything you fucking wanted.
Right? Oh my gosh. I'm reliving the, like, processing experience of they took Max from, he was, like, basically writing goodbye letters on that typewriter.
Yeah.
He was gonna die, and he was writing letters to the people he loves on that typewriter.
Yeah. And also his novel that the writers just forgot about, apparently.
We go from that to, like, a season and a half or whatever later. He's just like, here, take this tool of my fucking soul.
Yeah.
On your stupid ass honeymoon road trip.
Yeah, the fucking road. Oh my god.
In what universe? Like, no. Fucking no.
The way that, like, literally the sensical way to end this fucking show is Max and Liz get married and they go on a road trip and then they just fucking took that from them and gave it to Malix.
Just copy paste.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Oh my god.
When I was watching with Sam, I was like, are they going on a fucking road trip? And Sam was like, I think they are. I was like, are they going on a fucking road trip? And then when they started driving away, I was like, I swear to fucking God. Like, you cannot be serious. Like, I think I legit was like, you cannot be serious. These writers cannot be fucking serious. I cannot be seeing this with my eyes.
Oh my god.
Like, because road trips mean nothing to them.
Right.
That has a lot of meaning for Max and Liz.
Right. And both, like, individually and as a unit for Max and Liz.
Yeah.
Is so laden with meaning. But these writers don't give a fuck about actual meaningful stories.
Yeah, clearly.
Like, Oh, just like the aesthetic of it all is, and like that's the only thinking they do.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it makes me wonder that like like how hard is it really to break into the TV writing industry? Because like I think in theory I would enjoy it a lot, and I think I would do a way better job than any of these motherfuckers.
Literally. But I mean, literally, like I've talked to you, like I can come up with ideas in 10 minutes that are better than the shit that they give us and make more sense than what they give us. Like literally, because remember how I said I think it was like after. No, it was after episode 9 because it was as soon as the portal was introduced. I had this idea, and I was like, Max and Liz are gonna get married because they've been stressing the wedding too much. I feel like it has to be their wedding because we knew there was a wedding at that point.
Right.
And I was like, so Max and Liz are gonna get married. Clyde's gonna go through the portal. Max is gonna chase him, and it's gonna close, and that's gonna be the end. That makes more fucking sense than what they did. Why are we supposed to fucking care about Oasis? Literally. No, they forced this so hard in the fucking finale. And it's like, literally, why are we supposed to give a shit about Oasis? I don't fucking care about Oasis. I don't fucking care about the parental triad, but that's the shit you've spent a third of your time on for the past 3 seasons.
You're right.
I don't give a fuck about Oasis. I don't. Max doesn't care. He just feels guilty because Isabel fucking guilt-tripped him. And Maria showed him that Oasis isn't fully dead yet. So he feels like it's his duty. And because Liz knows him, she understands that. But neither of them want him to go. And, like, it's just such a shitty end because, like, why are you having him do something he doesn't want to do that he only feels like he has to do out of duty? Like, that's literally what his character has been. Like, does he not deserve some happiness to end this show with? Like, no, literally, he spent a decade being suicidal before the show started. And now he has to fucking be on Oasis and be miserable for years, according to Chris.
5 years. Oh my god.
And it's...
And like...
Yes, and again, I don't think it's, like, actual hate towards Max, because clearly they like writing for Nathan, given all the Jones stuff last season.
Right.
But, like there's a clear disinterest, because, like, they literally... The fucking promo for this season was like, this is the season of Max coming into his own. And then 6 episodes in, they were like, we don't know what to do with this, so we're going to hit pause by having him give up his abilities. And then they didn't pick it back up. They literally hit pause, and then they were like, we need to have other shit in the plot catch up before we can continue Max coming into his own. And it's like, why? And then the fact that they just had Tesca fucking teach him for like 30 seconds, and apparently that was it. It's like, why did you waste our time having all this other shit happen first? Why couldn't this have happened before he gave up his powers? Why couldn't this have been where things went?
Just pace it properly, like actually plan your goddamn season, plan your goddamn stories, and pace your plots so they actually line up.
No, like, I'm convinced they write episode by episode and they have the vaguest of plans of where they want to end up for the finale. But besides that, they write episode by episode.
Yeah, I believe it, because look at what we got.
Literally. Nothing made sense. And also, I would, because now that I said nothing made sense, like I was saying in one of the reaction videos, like the journey of bullshit we went on, because we went from the attempted proposal and like things are static but fine, and then Tesca makes Max's powers manifest, and Liz is like worried, but then the next episode she's not worried. And it's like, how do you go from worried to not worried in, like, I don't know, 2 days maybe? That doesn't make sense. Because episode 6, the episode when he gave up his powers, She was like fully unconcerned. She's like, you can do this, like our love can beat anything, like it's fine. And like 2 days ago, he just fucking like got shrapnel in her side, and she could have bled out if he hadn't been there to heal her. And like, I get that you trust him, like obviously, but like that's a huge jump for a few days, especially when you literally just talked to Maria and you were like, I think maybe I was right to be worried.
Right.
And then she's mad at him for giving up his powers. It's like you can't fucking be up and down like this.
The back and forth.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's.
And it's just like, it's so obvious that it was sabotage now.
Right. Like, now that we have just everything on the table in front of us, it's like, wow. Y'all really didn't give a fuck about these characters.
Yeah.
Like,
other than Michael and Isabel.
Like, the complete divestment from everyone except Michael and Isabel is like becomes just blatant.
Yeah.
Like when you're in it, when it's coming at you episode by episode, I know my tendency for sure is to give people like the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Like, oh, something is coming. Maybe this is like a setup. Like, let's have patience and see what they do with this. But like, now that they're done, it
really just felt like Charm Season 3 all over again.
Yeah, there's no plausible deniability. It just sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there an in-narrative reason why Liz could not go with Max to Oasis?
I presume because she's human, so like something about the planet's like not habitable for humans. But I mean, there was no explanation given, though.
Okay,
It could just be as simple as the writers being like, in case we were to get a season 5, we know we can't have Liz also leave. And it could also be something as simple as, because Arturo was never fucking let in on the secret about aliens, she can't just up and leave for an extended period of time with no way to contact him.
Right.
He should have fucking been told as soon as Rosa was brought back. I fucking hate that the writers had Isabel fucking mind manipulate him.
Yeah. And like...
Which, sorry, not to derail about Isabel again, but the fucking facts that they had Noah doing that same shit, like getting in people's mind and controlling them, that should have been a fucking wake-up call that she should stop, but it fucking wasn't, and she was like, I'm not a bad person like Noah was, so it's fine for me to do this shit still. Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Anyway, like, sorry, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Oh, just with Arturo and the Arturo Rosa Isabel thing, the condescension with which they wrote that storyline that Isabel like mind manipulated Arturo into thinking that it was like some kind of immaculate intervention, that because of his faith, like she just kind of fiddled around with those beliefs. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I personally have trouble with the whole institution of faith, but
yeah,
to treat it right. But it felt like in the story they basically used it to say that like Arturo is like less intelligent. Like they basically it felt like they used it to say he's an unintelligent person who can just be manipulated like this, and like the condescension of that is so ugly.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
I argue that Kyle had a happy ending because he and Isabel were together, even though he did fuck all this season.
Yeah.
But, like, besides that, Rosa's the only person who's visibly not white who had a happy ending. Because Maria didn't have a happy ending because Dallas left. I mean, she had... The way they write it, because they write the Maria Dallas scene as, like, hopeful, I want to say. But it's also like the way they write Maria is like they refuse to let her feel heartbreak, and it's just like everything rolls off her, and like she's too emotionally resilient to experience pain in their minds apparently. So I don't want to say her ending was as depressing as Max and Liz's, but she didn't get a happy ending.
Right.
Dallas didn't really get a happy ending either because he went with Max and he's going to be gone for that same 5 years. So it's like he put his whole life on hold for this shit.
Yeah.
And then Max and Liz obviously didn't get happy endings, although Max is white, obviously. But yeah, it's just like, and it's so annoying because like Max, Liz, and Maria are the characters who were shit on the most, like this entire final season. And then they're the ones who get, like, the shittiest ends, too. Like, enraging.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I have no words.
Well, because, I mean, like, Maria lost her powers, and then 3 episodes later she lost her mom, and she's not even allowed to grieve that because they gotta focus on the fucking plot. And
That's crazy.
And then she thinks Alex is dead, and she's busy trying to find him for, like, 5 episodes, or whatever the fuck. And then she didn't really do much until the Dallas Maria stuff picked back up, and then he left.
They killed her mother.
Yeah, let's talk about Mimi. Okay.
They killed off Maria's mother, whom she has previously been shown to be so close to. Like, they have a really close mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
To say nothing of their, like, inherited alien powers. But they have, like, I would say they are the closest parental-child relationship on the show.
Yeah.
And they give Maria, like, what? 2 minutes? 2.5 minutes to grieve her?
If that.
And if that. And, like, most of that is honestly taken up by, like, the characters around her being like, oh, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, don't.
Oh my god.
Everyone being like, we're here for you, and then they all just fuck off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
Like, the vitriol for the characters of color is very evident in the final season.
And I get
except for hard. Rosa, which I was trying to figure out what the reason is and why they're like how the racism apparently was overwritten. And it's like, is it because she died so young? Is it because her past of like substance abuse and like they don't want to do something depressing for like people who are addicts and they want to like have a story of like success and like having a happy life and recovery? Because, like, it's so weird how every other character of color just got shit after shit after shit. And then she, like, actually got a happy ending, which, like, thank God. Because she's been through enough. I mean, all the characters of color have been, but, like...
Right.
It's the disparity is hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, like we were saying before, when it's all laid out in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, there are no other dots to connect.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. Yeah. Like, I get that, you know, grief, addiction, recovery, like those negative emotions are difficult to write, and to write well.
Yeah.
Both for the individual and the characters around them. But if you're not good at writing those, don't bring it up.
Literally.
Like, y'all are the writers. Like, can we have enough self-awareness to be like, no, we're not good at writing grief storylines, so maybe we don't kill off the mother of the side character who are so freaking close.
Also, like, literally, what was the point of that? Like, it didn't matter for shit except to, like, make Maria sad.
Oh god, and like
Because it didn't do anything for the story
right,
except to have Maria look through the fucking wedding album or whatever and find that illustration of the fruit or whatever.
right,
It's
right,
like
right,
that
right,
could have happened without killing Mimi.
right. Like,
Because
why?
we've already established Mimi isn't like lucid. She could have
Right.
just said some random shit that had Maria like, "Hey, I should look at the wedding albums because that's seemingly connected to this random thought she had."
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, or we could even do like a parallel to a previous scene with, because when they, was it season 2 when they went to visit the, um, who was it? The dying soldier on the Maine's family reservation, and Isabel,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I
like,
don't
so
know if he
that
was a soldier, but some dying guy who was like mute, I think.
something like that. Like, that could have been a great parallel of someone who is uh has dementia or is like not able to communicate.
That was the one time Isabel using her mind powers didn't piss me off because it's like he's from what we can tell, he seemingly consented to it, for one. And two, that's
Right.
the only way you can talk with this person. So
Right.
it makes sense. But every other
Yeah.
time she just bulldozed anyone's
Ugh.
consent and was like, I want answers, give me the fucking answers.
God. And like the way that they insist on calling Maria and Isabel sisters.
I know. Oh my god.
Like,
I
what?
Sam and I were yelling at that too. Like the fact that Isabel treated her like trash the first 2 seasons and then never
Mm-hmm.
fucking apologized for anything. And
Yep.
she didn't even say anything about Jones until she was forced to because they were sharing that mindscape.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, one, you should be telling everyone in your vicinity anyway to be on the lookout for a fucking doppelganger of Max because you don't
Right.
know how successful your fucking cage will be at holding him.
Mm-hmm.
But two, you should definitely tell everyone who's an alien because they're the ones most affected by this.
Yeah.
And there's just Isabel just like had no fucking care for her until suddenly that scene when Maria's like, "Why are you always shutting me out?" And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden Isabel's like best friends with her, like fuck off. Also, now that we're on that, don't get me started about how she and Rosa apparently became fucking besties, as if that makes any sense. When Rosa's last memory is of Isabel fucking killing her, even though she knows it wasn't actually Isabel. That's still the fucking image she has.
Yeah. Like that kind of trauma doesn't go away just because you say so. Holy shit. Oh, oh my
Like,
god.
she literally had more scenes with
Oh.
Isabel than she did with Liz, I think, in season 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at least season 2 put a fucking effort into Liz and Rose's relationship because we got fuck all in that department season 3 and season 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, the way they just like, oh my god. In every facet of her life, they they don't care about Elizabeth or Teco.
Yeah.
They just don't care. And that will never cease to amaze me that they started with her as the lead character.
Because the books are from her point of view, so she has to be the lead.
Like
And
you start there
yeah,
and then just manipulate it into
the Michael show. Because
uh,
I've been arguing that it's like the Michael and Isabel show because those are definitely the two that get the most priority, but like Michael definitely gets
yeah.
quite a bit more than Isabel as well. So it did pretty
Mm-hmm.
much become the Michael show.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex only got brought along because the writers actually established that as a possibility in season 1.
Right.
Because if that had been Fanon in the first 2 seasons, it wouldn't have happened. I can
Well,
guarantee Michael would have ended up with someone else.
uh,
But yeah, I really miss whoever left after season 1 because, like, they actually cared. And everyone that came in after did not give a shit. And, like, the crazy thing is, like, they do actually have, like, some good concepts. But they just fucking failed at the execution every time. And, like, season 1, I think, was a lot stronger than everything after, obviously. But, like, season 1's not exempt from that. Because, like, this is supposed to be a mystery show. They did a shit job at setting up any mysteries because it's just like they slap us in the face with information every time they want to do some kind of reveal. It's like you did no work to set this up. It's crazy how much the show derailed.
Yeah. Mm. God, remember in season 1 when actions had consequences and characters talked to each other and like had emotional impact on one another?
Yeah, no, Liz is the driving force of season 1. Like, literally everything happens because she either puts it in motion herself directly or she says something to someone else that makes them do a certain action.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, once Max is back, Liz is barely relevant to the main arc of the story because she's off in her lab. I've been talking about this with other people. Season 1, she did so much more than be a scientist. Season 2 through season 4, they had her in the lab for, like, at least a solid half of her screen time. And then because she's the only character who's a scientist, she was always either by herself or with some character who didn't even matter beyond the current season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they can build much if that's the case.
Right.
Max, I don't want to say he interacted with everyone because I think he had 2 scenes with Maria in the entirety of season 1. And I think he had like 2 or 3 scenes with Kyle and they were all like contentious because it was the earlier half of the season.
Right.
Because then Kyle was shoved with Alex like the latter half. But like, Max actually did stuff in season 1. And he was actually allowed to interact with people other than Liz and Isabel and Michael in season 1. Because that's all he did after. I mean, like, every once in a while they throw him with someone else, but it was like one episode where he gets to interact with anyone else, and then that's it. And then just like the way pretty much every recurring character they brought in just ended up being inconsequential. The only recurring character I can even think of from season 1 was the woman that Liz was working for on that study. And she just disappeared from existence the second Liz's lab got blown up.
Right, and she was like a Roswell resident.
Also, the whole thing in season 2 of Liz being like, Roswell isn't big enough for my dreams or whatever the fuck. It's like, you got that study last year. Like, how can you not find anything?
Yeah.
And then the fact, like, again, we know now that it was sabotage, but the fact that they brought that up again in season 4, it's like, how is this still something you're feeling? Like, how are you still in Roswell if you still feel stifled by it? Like, Max would go anywhere you want to go. You don't have to stay here. But, like, that also pisses me off because, like, the whole thing of her running... I'm sorry, this is so many tangents. But, like, the whole thing of her in season 1, where, like, her character was, like, constantly, like, moving from place to place because, like, stability scared her, basically. And her whole thing of, like, ever since I lost Rosa, like, no places felt like home. And, like, even that quote when she says that in 104, she's basically like, I want to try to make Roswell my home. Like, I want to try to put down roots somewhere. And it's like, you can argue that she did that in season 2 by trying to fight to bring Max back. But then they fucking undermined themselves by having this shit about her feeling stifled in Roswell and having her do her bullshit unethical science, and then she left. And then you can argue that they did it again in season 3 by having her come back to Roswell and being like, I think I'm meant to be here after the Gen shit. And, like, she was fighting for her and Max and, like, insisting that, like, Roswell is her place. And then they fucking undermine it again in season 4. And it's just, like, the way they cannot follow through on anything. And that's the thing for a lot of the characters. It's, like, there's no development because they'll, like, do an arc, but then they just fucking undermine it to do it again. And then they do it terribly when they do it again.
At a certain point, you stop believing the boy who cries wolf. Like, that's the point of that story, that if you if you keep doing the thing, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna stop paying attention, because if there's no wolf, next time you start crying, be like, well, the last several times that there was no wolf, so what do you want me to do? Like,
but yeah, because like I was saying in one of our, I think it was the 411, because that was when the Malik's proposal happened, the 411 reaction. But like with Michael, like he's still hung up on Oasis. It's like, it's been 4 years. How is this still where you are? I can't even argue that Alex or Kyle had any kind of storylines in season 3 or season 4. They were just there for a plot.
Yeah.
I can't argue that Max had anything really in season 3 or season 4, because he was fucking out of the show for like 4 episodes in season 3. And then they did fuck all with the Max Jones thing, except to give Max like 2 angsty speeches.
Yeah.
Because season 4, they, like I was saying earlier in this talk, they literally just pressed pause on the narrative that they were wanting to do for him, and then waited 6 episodes, and then hit play. So he didn't do anything in season 6 because of that. Or season 4. Yeah. Where's my head?
Oh, gosh.
Also, if you're gonna be like, Michael's hung up on Oasis, why doesn't he want to go with Max?
His brother.
Explain that to me, writers. Explain that. Michael, the one who actually wanted to fucking go to Oasis. But no, you gotta secure that fucking Malik's endgame. Fuck anything that makes sense. I don't even remember if we talked about this because I've been all over the place. But like, again, with making Max go, like, they forced it so hard because they literally didn't even bring up that fucking memory until like a third of the way through the finale. And it's just like, they don't even bring it up for like a third of the episode, and then he has to be guilt-tripped heavily by Isabel, and then he has to be shown by Maria that there's actually a chance to save it, to even consider going, and then he doesn't want to fucking do it. He doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
It was literally just to fuck with Echo Shippers. And to tell us that we should go fuck ourselves for caring about Max and Liz.
And like,
because it's not even a satisfying ending for like, if there was a season 5. Yeah. Because like, how do you have him do the last thing that he wants to actually do? Because that's just him doing what he's always done, which is putting what he feels is his duty above what he wants.
Yeah. And like, it would actually make sense for Michael to go. And
he wants to go so fucking badly.
Like, and it would make sense for him as an individual character, and it would also make sense for their stupid fucking ship as well. Like, yes, they get married right before, but then like they could go on the premise of like their love can transcend universes. Like, even though there's universes between us, they'll still be in super duper love. And I'm gonna come back and we're gonna have our amazing galaxy life. And like it still works for their stupid propaganda of trying to push that relationship, but they just like, yeah, copy pasted the road trip concept of like give them a honeymoon. It just like
It's so
it's like,
blatant.
yeah, just like the completely the air being let out of the balloon, just just awful writing choices.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully you liked hearing our discussion. I'm planning to do like a deep dive type video on Roswell, New Mexico, so I'm very slowly working on that script. Hopefully I'll be able to get it up early next year. It's definitely going to be a long one, longer than this. And then as for what else I'm up to, Kung Fu is returning this week, so I'll be doing my weekly reviews for that again. And I think that's about it for announcements. So thank you for listening, especially if you made it all the way to the end of this. And hopefully I'll catch you again soon. Bye.